Hey everyone, this is Adam Sweet with Soul Astrology, and today is the first edition of the Anonymous Birth Chart Readings, a series in which I do mini readings based on charts and questions submitted by you all. To get us started, I thought I would do something kind of fun for this first edition, and I asked AI, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. I asked AI for a randomly generated date, time, and location, as well as a question. I did not say it was related to astrology or anything like that. I just asked, please give me a randomly generated date, time, and location and a question. And what do we have here? The irony of the magical conscious universe we live in is ever present in this chart. Let me point out to you how I think that's the case. So, the question that was presented was, what would you do if you had one day to live? Obviously, we could reframe this to be in the first person to be congruent with the natal chart here. So it would be something like, what would I do if I had one day to live? Or what should I do if I had one day to live? The first thing that I think is so ironic is the fact that we have Scorpio rising. What sign can we think of that would ask a existential question like what would I do if I had one day to live? Then Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign that occupies the darkest time of the year between Libra and Sagittarius. It is a solid sign and is in that period of time when darkness is prevailing and ever present. So it's often associated with the darker things in life. It is the sign that is ruled by the planet Mars, and the sign that we have the holiday of Halloween fall in. So, a question like that, I think, fits perfectly with Scorpio rising. Then we have the ascendant ruler of Scorpio, Mars, in the eighth house. The eighth house in ancient astrology is the house that was most often associated with death. And we have the moon, which is the planet that was associated with fate and fortune, applying within 3 degrees to conjoin Mars, the malefic out of sect in a difficult house. So, what do we have here? We have a lot of symbolism that represents death in this chart and the um, ever present existential nature of a question like, what would you do if you had one day to live? So, what do you think this native would do if they had one day to live? Well, I will give you my thoughts, and then if you have any of your own, you could leave them in the comments section below. But I think because we have Scorpio rising, we have Mars in the eighth house in Gemini, sandwiched between the moon and co-present with or sandwiched between the moon and Venus, co-present with all these in the stellium here in the eighth. I personally think what this native would probably do, I think that they are in this case 16 years old, is Venus is the planet that rules the seventh house. The seventh house is the house of our closest relationships, often the spouse. In this case, probably a boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other of some kind. I think Mars, the native in this case, would want to run away from home and go spend some time, probably in some sort of tricksterish, mercurial dialogue or doing something kind of rebellious and fun with their significant other. That to me is what I see as being the most obvious thing here. Um, but considering the moon represents mother and family, as well as fate and fortune, and is applying to conjoin Mars, this might indicate a difficult family dynamic within the native's life, potentially one involving belief systems or a challenge with belief systems. The moon rules the ninth house of spirituality, religion, and higher minded ideals. Like I said, it is applying to the malefic that's out of sect in this case. So we have a little bit of a challenging situation here regarding family and the native. Um, Potentially. Obviously, context is everything in astrology. So, if this was a actual real person, I would of course want to always get context before I came to any assumptions like this. But since this is randomly generated and we're just kind of having fun today for this first edition, then what I'm going to say is you probably really want to run away and go hang out with your significant other on the last day on planet Earth. But what you should do before you do all that is definitely go make amends with your family or your mother. Make sure that you know that you love them and it's all good. And then you can go have the fun you want to have. Okay. I hope you all enjoyed that. If you would like your chart to get a mini reading like the one you saw here today, obviously it wouldn't be all jokes. We're going to have a lot of different questions coming through. Um, Please submit your birth data and a question and any info you think might be pertinent to that question to Adam at soulastrology.com. And I'll go ahead and put you in the queue for a mini reading. Okay, thanks everybody. Take care and have a nice day. Bye.